If you've been charged and sentenced on a crime and you were placed on probation and you violated probation, you might want to know if you are going to go to jail on your probation violation hearing. The short answer is probably not on your first violation. Also it kind of depends on what the violation is. But normally at a probation violation hearing, the judge will place you back on probation, all things being equal. My name is Derron Woodfork, and I'm an attorney here in Scottsdale, and I've been practicing law here for 26 years. Off and on, in the beginning of my career, I did a bunch of criminal defense work as a public defender, and off and on I picked up criminal cases over the years. Right now, we restore gun rights here at my firm, and we seal all criminal cases. But if you're ever in a situation, like I said, where you've been sentenced and you're on probation, and you're facing a probation violation hearing, that's what this video is about. And so again, like I said, whether or not you show up for your hearing and the judge either places you back on probation or takes you to jail, that will depend on what kind of violation it was. Sometimes there's just like a technical violation where you didn't call, or you didn't check, you didn't show up, or you tested bad, what they call a dirty test or whatever. Basically, you had drugs in your system, something like that. That type of stuff, the judge will probably put you back on probation if your probation officer violates you or whatever. But on the flip side, though, if you picked up a new case, then obviously it depends on the new case, the judge will either put you back on probation or take you in, depending on how serious that new case is. So that's what you have to understand. You have to decide, you have to figure out if it's a technical violation of the probation or a new case, whether or not you'll be taken in. And one of the things that's going to happen is the probation department, obviously, when they violate you, they're going to submit a report to the judge. That report is going to go a long way to what the judge does as far as putting you back on probation or not. So again, a lot of it's going to depend on what type of violation it was and your relationship with your probation officer. Like I said, because what they're going to write that report, what they put in that report is important. So you want to cooperate with them. You want to be honest with them. You want to tell them everything to fix that, to fix the problem. You don't want to make it worse, I should say. And so that probation, and then so the judge will have the probation report, your lawyer will be making arguments on your behalf, and the prosecutor will be making arguments against you, but that probation department is going to have the most weight. One of the things that's kind of interesting I had a lot of experience when I was, a public defender and I had to do probation violation hearings, is that a lot of people will voluntarily violate the probation and go do the rest of their jail time as a part of the probation. And the reason why is because I guess the probation was too hard. I remember we have what was called intensive probation in Arizona, and it was really hard. And I would say at least 50% of the clients who were on intensive probation said that they didn't want to be on it anymore. They wanted to violate their own the probation, and they wanted to just do their time and be done, what they call off paper. And so that's something that I guess is available to people that want to. And I was I remember when I was a younger lawyer, I was kind of hesitant on that because I thought the judge would be upset if the guy was walking into court saying he wanted to violate his own probation. I thought the judge would be like, well, you're not even trying to stay out of jail or whatever. But again, the judges, they had a lot more experience than I did. And so the judges were kind of like, they know the game, and they didn't hold against the guy who's saying, hey, look, probation is hard. I just want to go do my time and be done with it. So anyways, that was a kind of an interesting learning experience for me, where it's like, yeah, everybody knows that probation sucks. And so if they want to go in and violate, that's an option. But most people don't. I mean, with that said, most people, they are happy to get placed back on probation after a probation violation. So again, that's kind of what a probation violation hearing is. Like I said, all things being equal, the garden variety violation, the judge is going to put you back on probation. They might make a few stricter terms of the probation, but most of the time here in Arizona, they will. And again, it depends on your case. It depends on your prior history. Depends on, you know, what your probation officer says. Also, it depends on how long into the probation. Like if, you know, class 6 here, you have 3 years of probation. If you have a violation within the first 2 months, that's going to be worse than if you have a probation violation, you know, at 2.5 years. So, you know, those are some factors just to think about. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or shoot me an email. All my information is here on the website. Again, my name is Derron Woodfork. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.